We might only do 2 sessions instead of 3, so we'll figure it out as we go.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so we are recording. Okay, welcome everybody. This is Performing Arts. I'm Patty Grubbs, the moderator. I volunteer at Fort Lewis College in Career Services. So I'm not going to take a lot of time. We kind of went over what the rules were. If you're not speaking, please go ahead and stay muted. And then if you have questions, please enter them into the chat box, Audrey, as you listen through. Every panelist, who are amazing this morning, will have 2 minutes each to speak and tell their story. And so I will go ahead and let Mandy Garner with 10-Minute Play Festival. Mandy, you're up. Go ahead, and I'm going to be timing you. So you have 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Mandy Gardner. I started performing when I was 10 years old. I got paid for it, and that was all I ever wanted to do because it was the most fun I had ever had. So I kept doing that through high school, did regional tours, but I realized that I needed marketable skills, which meant I needed to go to college. So I did go to college. I majored in theater and music. After college, I did a national tour for 2.5 years, and I tell you, I was exhausted. So I started teaching. Teaching art, teaching music, actually ended up from Virginia, it ended up in Fort Collins, and then through my semi-professional career, made it down here to Durango, where I started teaching at the Durango Art Center. I have performed here with the Art Center, with Merely Players, with the Durango Women's Choir, and at the Art Center currently, I organize the 10-Minute Play Festival, and that's a year-long process, and it is super fun, and if you want to get involved in that, certainly do. But I'll tell you this, although I get paid in a semi-professional way for performing and singing, it is not my full-time job. My full-time job is working at a church. And I absolutely love that because I use my theater and music training constantly throughout my job. So it keeps me happy and it keeps me grounded. And that's how I'm a performing artist.
Thank you, Mandy, so much. We really appreciate that. And good job on your time. We're going to move to Jesse Ogle, founder of I Am Music. And Jesse, you may go ahead and start.
Okay, hey Audrey, I'm Jesse. I'm the founder and foundation director of I Am Music. We basically cultivate music in a lot of different ways. So if you're interested in music, please reach out. But we do music education and but also put on a lot of events and concerts, and we try to connect independent artists together and provide economic stimulus for our region. But just as far as my path in music is, I've been playing music professionally for about 20 plus years and have traveled all over, played shows everywhere. And I think the one thing I would say, if you were interested in art or music, it's really just about having drive and passion to do it, and it will take care of you. You can find a way. There's a way to make music or art a part of your life, and it's very possible. You just need a good mentorship and a good system of support. With any job, if you love it, it's great. There's always things that you don't love about your job. I'd say the thing that I don't love about my job is the amount of time I spend emailing people. So I kind of make a joke that, I'm a professional emailer. I feel like I do that more than just play music sometimes. So, there's a lot of communication that needs to be had in the arts. And if you are a good communicator, then you'll be successful in the arts. So I'm good.
All right. Thank you so much, Jesse. Time to spare. Look at that. Bailey Barnes is a vocalist and a music coach. And Bailey, we would love to hear from you. So you go right ahead and you can start now.
All right. Yeah, so my name is Bailey Barnes, and I am a voice teacher at Fort Lewis College, as well as I have my own private voice lesson studio. I also am a professional singer and musician, and I primarily sing classical music and jazz and a little bit of folk. And I am also a business coach and mentor for creative entrepreneurs, and I'm actually now in my business really trying to focus on helping singers. And what that means basically is that I help people who don't have a kind of typical career path that's already carved out for them. And like Jesse kind of mentioned, that's kind of how it works with musicians. You really have to kind of carve your own path. And even if you go to music school or art school or if you get a degree in the performing arts of some sort, you still have to have business and entrepreneurial skills it's like you start a small business when you start a career like that. So that's where I come in. So what I do at work, I teach people how to sing. I teach people how to write a business plan, how to manage their time so that they can have time to not only make money to pay the bills, but also carve out time to spend on their singing business and then, also the art side of things, which is why it's sometimes really tricky for us creative people, because we have to master our art and our business. My pathway to this job, I got my degree in music education, and I taught elementary and middle and high school music for about 7 years, and then decided to start my own voice studio and singing career. And that's why I got really interested in the business side of things for creative entrepreneurs. I love helping people carve their own paths and create their own business and create a business that makes their life the life that they've always wanted to live. And what do I not love about my job? I have to be on social media a lot, and sometimes I don't love that, but it's an ongoing balancing act. So
Very good. Thank you so much, Bailey. And I see that we did have another student that had joined. We've got a couple of more students who have joined, so welcome. Let me just say that please put your questions in the chat box if you have questions as you're listening to our speakers tell their stories, and then we'll get to them as soon as we finish. We have one more panelist today, Elle Carpenter, owner of Durango Aerial Arts and Aerobatics. So go ahead and you're up. Go ahead, Elle.
Acrobatics.
Thank you. Oh.
You were right, acrobatics. Yeah, I do own one of the circus companies in town. I actually started my performing arts career as a backup singer at an extremely young age. I can't even remember how early I started because I was the youngest in a huge family, and we all sang together, and we were put in different singing groups in Vermont where I grew up. And so singing was the first thing I did, and then I started stage acting at age 8 and fell in love with theater and musical theater. And from there, I continued those things through high school. I also did competitive gymnastics, and I actually got a degree in musical theater at American University in Washington, D.C. But then I decided I wanted to move to Los Angeles, and part of the reason was because one of my sisters, who had joined the circus at a young age, was like, well, you won't have to get a job as a waiter. You can be my circus performer partner. And she was right. I was able to pay my bills by performing and doing circus with her. And so I was able to pursue my music and my acting while also making money doing performing arts. So that's a very unique thing I was able to do. And obviously everyone can't do it, but I will say that the more you can kind of take people's feedback at what you're good at, the better you'll go in performing arts. So that's part of what I do. I kind of like take people's feedback, and I do a lot of different things in performing arts. I teach circus because it's what I do for fun. I never meant to pursue it as my career. I'm a little more serious about acting and music. But I fell into circus and it works, and I can do it while I do the other stuff. So I'm very lucky.
Excellent. Elle, thank you so very much. All right, looks like we have Audrey and Molly, Naomi, and Liam on. So I'm looking in the chat box. I don't see any questions so far. So are there any questions? If so, you can just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask any of the questions that you want to our panelists.
Audrey did type a question into the chat box.
Did she? Okay. All right, Audrey, thank you. Have you felt that your career in music has helped others in some way? Who would like to she's asked that to everyone. So who would like to respond to that?
I could do a quick response to that. I mean, I work with hundreds of artists, and so I'd say, you know, I've helped a lot of artists grow and become professional musicians, but also I think that it's really important to have a community in music. And so, you know, I've extended myself out to lots of professional musicians. And so, yeah, I think I've definitely helped a lot of other people, and in turn, they'll help you back. So if it's one of those things that's a cycle, and we're all in it together.
Are you taking multiple answers for each question, or are we just doing one person per question?
We can do any way we want to. So we could have, she wrote this to everyone, so everyone has the ability to respond to this.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll jump in quickly also and say that I think that, you know, I really feel like as performers, we help people, especially during times of really great difficulty, like what we're in now. You know, just the simple fact that you can give someone the opportunity to go and enjoy some uplifting music or an interesting acrobatic show, or you know, that those kinds of opportunities are more important now than ever, I think. So I think that's one of the most direct ways that we help people in music. And I'll say that since I've started my work as a business coach and mentor for singers and creative entrepreneurs, I've seen some great, this is some of the most fulfilling work I've ever done, because I'm helping people like transform their lives. And these are people who wanted to have a singing career or some kind of creative outlet as their primary source of income. And I've been able to help them get started down that path, which makes me feel really, really satisfied in my work. And also like I'm really helping people. So that's a good question. Thanks for asking, Audrey.
So anyone else want to respond to Audrey's question? And please, we still have time. You can enter questions into the chat box if anyone has any other questions.
I have an answer. I agree with what Jesse and Bailey said, but also I think this goes along with what I said about kind of paying attention to your community and your audience, and kind of just being a good listener to people around you. The only reason I have continued my music career is because even when there's like 3 people in an audience, because I actually did spend a good chunk of the last 10 years on tour, surprisingly, while running the circus business. But you know, you have really frustrating times, and you have shows where you're a jukebox and you're making a paycheck, but the audience is drunk and not listening. And so it's listening to those genuine people who you're really making a difference to, who, you know, someone's like, can you write a song from this poem I wrote for my dead best friend of 40 years? You know, like people who actually are asking for your help, paying attention to them, and people who are saying, please come back here. You know, that's the place that you'll go back to on tour. Like you'll be like, okay, I will play that venue again because people asked for me to come back. I just think there's a lot to be said for actually being a good listener. And I mean, don't do anything you're not comfortable with, but take into consideration what's being asked of you as a performer, because, we feed off of fans. I mean, you look at big artists, and it's the people who last a long time are the people who really care about their community and their fans, no matter how famous they are. So that's kind of another perspective in addition to Jesse's and Bailey's.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, Elle. Let's see. We had another question. Do you feel that having an art profession helps you get through personal struggles? I think that was another question from Audrey.
I bet everyone can say yes there.
Yeah, I would say so. What about advice you would give someone entering into the field? Which field is that, Molly? Molly, can you unmute and
Yeah,
tell
I'm
us
just
which
gonna.
field? Yeah.
I was just gonna turn my mic on. I'm actually interested about all of them because I'm not personally very interested in going into that for my future, but it's actually quite interesting knowing about others. So
Okay.
I was curious about all, if that would be okay.
That's perfect. Absolutely. Okay, panelists, how would you respond to, what advice would you give someone entering into your particular field?
I'll start. So for theater, number one, go to school, hone your craft, and also learn about all the technical aspects. Stage managers, lighting designers, the stage crew, set design, costumes. I tell you what, those are the people that have constant employment. Those of us performers, actors, we have to compete with each other for roles. And so sometimes we don't work for a while because we are not cast. So don't forget the technical aspect of theater. And when you are cast, you be as gracious and as kind, and you listen to those technical people, the director, of course, but your stage manager, you treat them like gold, because you are auditioning every second of every day, even after you're cast. If you have a bad attitude, you are not going to be cast again, period. And then I would say with that competition aspect of it, yes, there's competition, but it does not have to be cutthroat. One of the best things about theater is the community. So be proud of yourself, whether you get cast or not, and be more proud of your theater family. When somebody gets the role that you really wanted, be proud of them, because they will be proud of you, and that's how you cultivate community, and people will want to work with you because your work ethic and your kindness and your talent will carry you through.
That's absolutely great advice. And I think too, these panelists, some of these panelists know each other. So how you treat people can really go forward. You never know who you're going to work with again, run into again. So important. So thank you. What about one of the other panelists? What advice would you give to someone entering into your field?
I just want to second what Mandy said, and let it apply to film and TV also. The more versatile you can be in performing arts, the more likely you'll be able to continue. And if you're a fantastic performer, that doesn't mean that you can't also learn to edit your own videos and to do self-promotion. And I highly recommend business school, like what Bailey does. You could get a degree in business school and apply it to your performing arts, or you could take classes outside of it. I know for music, there's a really great program called the Music Marketing Manifesto. And I'm sure there's others like that, where you can literally pay for an online course and learn how to do it if you didn't study it in school. So yeah, how you treat people well, no matter what you do. Be versatile, be open to who knows what you're good at. You might think, I don't think I could ever do performing arts, but because I'm not good, but there must be something you're good at. If you're really interested in it, you'll find out what you're good at. And then also make sure that you treat it like a career. So the business school aspect.
I'm going to just be a little bit of devil's advocate, is that you don't need to go to school to be really good at music or the arts. You really don't. But you can do that. I have done that. But you just have to be disciplined and committed to the craft. And I do think being dynamic in that craft is important.
Yeah, and I'll just, I agree with what everyone has said, and that's true. You don't have to go to a 4-year college and get a bachelor's degree. And actually, there's an argument to be made that hinders you in some ways, because it gives you, first of all, probably student debt that then you're saddled with, that you have to pay off with the little money you make as an artist at the beginning of your career. I have friends who aren't singing because they aren't making the money they need to make to pay off their student loans from grad school. So, and I also just want to say again, you need to spend equal amounts of time honing your craft and growing your business. So kind of just echoing that's something that's not taught in most performing arts programs, in, graduate and undergraduate programs. So know how to run a music business and hone your craft as well at the same time, or a performing art.
We're that out of time. They're getting ready to move us to new rooms. So students, you will just don't do anything. You're going to be moved to a different breakout room. And panelists, you'll just stay right here, and we'll have a new breakout room here in just a moment. So I think it happens magically that they'll just be moving on. Thank you so much, panelists. Thank you so much, students. I'm sorry if you didn't get to ask a question, but we really enjoyed getting to hear from these panelists.
Yeah, come find us if you want to talk to us.
Definitely.
Absolutely. You can look us up. I'm sure most of us can be found on social media, and we can give you our email or whatever you prefer. So
you can, absolutely. It was fascinating going in and looking up these people and seeing what all they do and their careers and what they're involved in. So check them out.
Good luck.
Can I go use the restroom?
Yes.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Go right ahead. Well, since we haven't moved yet, Summer, Naomi, any questions that you had before? You might get switched out before we get to finish, but any questions that you have for this panel?
No.
Okay. Naomi, how about you? Any questions you have for this panel? Are you performing arts majors right now? Are you interested in performing arts? How about you, Naomi? Molly, how about you? Oh, you said no. Summer, are you?
Naomi.
I actually did theater my freshman and sophomore year at DHS, but I was just part of the theater program, and I was actually on tech crew, so it was quite interesting to hear that perspective of how important it is to look into what's going on behind, because me being a techie, I didn't get as much notice. So I feel like when I heard her say that, I was like, wow, that's quite weirdly fulfilling in a way, because you're realizing that more people understand how much goes into it. Absolutely. And how important it is to pay attention to what's going on and how everyone contributes as one. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So I thought
very interesting, as a matter of fact. Yeah. Yes. We haven't heard from Liam. Liam, you have any comments or questions for this panel?
Liam responded in the chat.
Thank you. Okay. All right, very good. All right. Well, I think that they're probably having a little bit of, taking a little time to get all of the rooms moved, I'm guessing. So, since there are so many people on this.
Molly, are you related to Zane?
No, I'm not.
Okay, just curious.
Okay, so we're going to leave in 5 seconds. They're going to move us. So thank you, everyone, for this session. It was